Ukraine's Prime Minister is visiting Berlin after months of somewhat frosty relations with Germany. Shmyhal is meeting with Chancellor Olaf Sholz and other officials to push for more heavy weapons from Berlin. Shmyhal has offered to send Germany more electricity across the recently linked grid from its nuclear power stations to help with its transition away from Russian energy. For its part, Germany recently announced a new $200 million aid package to help Ukraine's internally displaced people and a major boost to its military aid and weapons catalog.
Ukraine's ammunition supply is about to get a boost. Its howitzer artillery units will be stocked with a new type of shell called the Volcano. Germany says it's sending several hundred Volcano munitions to the front line. The GPS and laser-guided missiles reach up to 80 kilometers, almost doubling the range of most howitzers. Already existing donated equipment is having an impact.
There were shellings on Sloviansk every day. But due to new weapons that were received from the West, particularly HIMARS and howitzers, our chances have equalized. Before, one of our shots was answered with 50 shots from them. Today the ratio is 1 to 4, or 1 to 5.
HIMARS are the US-supplied long-range mobile rocket launchers, which have allowed Ukraine to hit deep behind Russian lines. Countries have pledged almost 90 billion euros worth of equipment or military financing. The US is by far the biggest donor, followed by the United Kingdom and the European Union. Poland is number 4. Its donations include howitzer artillery vehicles like these to replace Ukraine's Soviet-era tanks and cannon.
I think the advance is more successful on our side because our equipment is more modern. We attack the occupiers more precisely.
Germany is the 5th biggest military donor. It has now pledged almost 2 billion euros worth of aid, including anti-aircraft vehicles and training for troops to operate them.
The men who are here will defend their country. They will defend it against the terrible threat posed to Ukraine by Russia's brutal war of aggression. And we will continue to support them with our financial capabilities, but also with weapons.
And private individuals have also sent millions to help Ukraine buy drones for its fleet of eyes in the sky. Foreign support has been crucial in keeping Ukraine's resistance efforts afloat and helping it defend its territory for longer than anyone expected.
DW's Nina Haza has been following the story for us and joins me now in the studio. So, Nina, relations are a little bit warmer now after months of frostiness, would you say?
It is hard to call them frosty because, of course, there was a very big outpour of solidarity here in Germany from day one, and there was never any doubt that Germans stood by the side of Ukraine, and they opened their doors to refugees. They provided financial aid. But when it came to delivering weapons, that was the big sticky point where both governments couldn't agree, and that did cause a bit of a diplomatic row as well, because Ukraine kept criticizing Germany for being too slow when it came to delivering the weapons that they said they needed in the war. And there was a big reluctance here in Germany for all sorts of reasons. I mean, this crisis is putting Germany into some sort of an existential crisis where they're having to do paradigm shifts when it comes to those policies. Absolutely. So it did take a long time, and then our President Steinmeier said that he was uninvited from Kiev, and the Ukrainian ambassador here in Berlin played a big role, said a couple of things where some people said, OK, now you're insulting the German government. Is that really going to help you? So the fact that Denis Shmyhal is here in Berlin is a very good sign that also the Ukrainian side are ready to now say, OK, let's just put these things behind us.
And move on, yeah.
And move on.
It feels like that. So they want more weapons, which is what the Ukrainians always say they need more of, given their war against Russia, defense against the Russian invasion, and also support for a complete ban on delivering visas to Russian entering the European Union. That's what he's traveling for, going to be heading to Brussels, Prime Minister Shmyhal. Is he likely to, any results from the meeting that you know of?
Well, he gave two very big interviews ahead of his visit here in Berlin, and then the press conference was cancelled that had been announced.
Oh.
And so, unfortunately, we're not going to know the details. And some people here in Berlin are saying, OK, the fact that he did give these interviews and that he made his position very clear is an indication that then here in the Chancellery, here in Germany, some people said, OK, our positions are still too different, so let's not put our different positions on display in front of the world media.
Yeah.
So we won't know the details, but it is a fact that the Ukraine says they need Germany's modern tanks. They need the Leopard 2. Germany hasn't been delivering that. They also say that Germany has to deliver more of the air defense system, the IRIS-T. That's also modern. They say that they will be delivering 4, but Ukraine say they need at least 12 to protect their airspace. And when it comes to the total visa ban, Olaf Sholz, the German Chancellor, has said from day one, this is Putin's war. We're not going to target the Russian population with a total ban on coming to the EU. So this is something where there is no movement. Germany has now supported the EU's move to get rid of that visa facilitation process. So it is going to become a bit more difficult for Russians to enter the EU, but they still say we need the Russian opposition, and so we can't deny them access to the EU.
Just a last question, if I may, and it's maybe stepping away from Ukraine, maybe not. Olaf Scholz announcing 65 billion euros, thank you, to help citizens and companies deal with the inflation caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, coming on the day of the visit of the Ukrainian Prime Minister. Coincidence?
That, of course, is not a coincidence, but it also has to do with the visit of Shmyhal, but it also has to do with the fact that Bundestag, the German parliament, is sitting again next week. And so the German government really did want to see as an active player when it comes to supporting the German population and companies, and in the way, especially how to cope with rising prices. And of course, the government stressed, we're seeing prices rising in a way that nobody could foresee, and we're having to support the population, we're having to support consumers. So they already launched 2 big financial relief packages over the summer worth 30 billion euros, and now they're adding another 65 billion euros, and they're going to get the approval for that, of course, next week.
OK, DW's political correspondent Ina Haza, thanks so much.